I am your host, Andrew Monahan, and today we're talking about how to get better at discovery. And it's one of the most important steps in the sales process, as we know, but we're not maximizing the opportunity enough consistently. As a general rule, across all the calls I listen to across different companies, one conclusion I come to is we're not maximizing it enough. And there's various things that we can do to improve. But one of the biggest mistakes that we're making as a rule is the length of the questions that we're asking. And if I look at that, I can think of, for example, questions with lots of filler words, right? We got a good question, but we kind of fill in with words, and we almost start talking and start asking the question without really knowing quite the way to ask the question. And whenever you don't really know what you're doing, you just start making it up as you go along. So rather than a simple, what time is it today? You might say, what time is it, right now? It's kind of in the afternoon, and you kind of ums and fills ins and all the rest of it, right? So I hear questions with lots of filler words, and what should be a short question turns into a long one. Another one is the question with the multiple choice answer, right? And this is the, what time is it? Is it 2:15, or do you think by now it's 3:15? Or is it really more 2:45 or 3:30, right? Or it might be this, or it might be tomorrow right now. We don't know, right? So in a sales situation, we ask the question, and we almost like ask the prospect, is it this, or is it that, or is it this, or are you experiencing that? And we're kind of cutting them off as we're doing that. And we're getting lots of different options about perhaps what the answer might be. A third one that we do is we ask the question, and then we feel a need to explain all the background behind the question. So it usually goes along the lines of, what time is it? Because I was thinking about how we allocate our time this afternoon and whether it's really important to do it this way or that way. And perhaps it's this way, but it's really important to know, because if we don't allocate it properly, well, it goes on and on and on, right? And we feel the need to really explain away what the reason is and all the background to the question. Another one I see a lot of is the question with lots of follow-on questions, right? That might be, what time is it? What time is it today? What time is it tomorrow? What time do you think it might be in Alaska today? And right now, what time do you think it might be in Spain? And then once you explain the time in Spain, what time is it? British summertime, or is it European time, or is it U.S. time? And once we understand what time it is, I'm wondering if we're using a clock or a watch to really assess what time it is, right? So there's all these follow-on questions to the one that we really want to ask, right? So when you answer this one, I'm going to ask you this, I'm asking you that, and I'm asking this, and then what about that? And then tell me why, right? And the prospect's sitting there going, "What? I don't know what I'm supposed to be answering right now. I might even forgotten what the first question was." And then finally, I guess the bad example above all bad examples is where it's a combination of all these things I mentioned, right? It's almost like we give the multiple choice and we explain why we asked the question, and then there's multiple questions, and somehow the multiple choice is supposed to fit into the multiple questions, and then we have to do the because again, and it's filler words, and it's just a mess. And I know in my career I've done that before, right? Usually when I'm not very confident about the situation I'm in, usually when I'm not exactly sure what sort of questions I should be asking, it's almost like I would at times start asking the question, trusting myself to have it figured out what the real question is by the time I stop talking.